blanket inside.
It's like gastric bypass for flying cats.
Operation.
Wait, how do I do it? Wait.
It'd be better if it was a Snuggie that came out instead of a blanket.
I don't think that would make you very happy.
Depends on what color it was.
Hello. What's up, Patrick?
Not much. Just hanging out with Happy from Fairy Tale.
Sweet. Taking in the rain.
Facing the wrong way forward, but yes. It just makes me feel okay knowing it's behind me.
Alrighty. Well, Patrick, you've had essentially like a dynamite year in terms of the titles you've worked on.
Thank you. And pure destructive potential, yes.
Yes, indeed. We'll probably get through. Let's go for some of the more like questions for fans who may not be aware of your work really quick about
Sure.
that kind of stuff. So, Patrick, how did you get into voice acting and then later transition into ADR and scripts?
I got the acting bug in high school, did musical theater, did straight plays, and then in college I got the bright idea, I'm going to go to LA and be an on-screen actor. It's just that simple. It's as easy as that. It's not as easy as that. So I went out to LA, learned a bunch of life lessons, which was life kicking me in the teeth and being like, what did you learn? And I'm like, thank you, life. Luckily, during that whole sorted process, I took some voiceover classes, made a voiceover demo, spent money I frankly didn't have. And then I got in with a company on what was only their second or third project. So they were new to anime, I was new to anime, and it was before the bubble burst out west, so there were more projects, the budgets weren't quite as severe. So they had the chance to take a chance on someone that was a total noob, and I was a total noob, believe you me. Got in with them on that project, and then they just kept bringing me back. And eventually met other directors and other studios, and then eventually got into the video games, then got to work with the Texans also, and now I'm just sort of ubiquitous and unstoppable. If only they had known.
What the seed they planted.
They did this.
So, video game roles, anime roles, you do both. Do you have a preference for one or the other? I know there's a lot of work in video games.
It's both of them for different reasons are preferable. In anime, usually you have more of a storyline you get to follow through. I mean, with anime characters, I can go back and do them again months later, weeks later, in some cases years later. With video games, it's pretty much just one and done, unless you're doing a franchise like Blaze Blue, where you get to come back every year or so and do it again. Not that it's all about money. Video games pay better than anime, but there's not always as much fun to be had with the acting, because a lot of times you go in for the video games, and they're like, okay, you're the guy who's dying. You're shot. You're shot in the gut, you're shot in the arm, you're shot in the head. Now you're on fire. Now you're hit by a car. Now you're hit by a car while you're on fire. Now you're crushed by a wall while you're on fire, and the wall was pushed onto you by a car. Like, it's every possible way you could die horribly. Video games are more likely, at least for the stuff that I do, in the particular wheelhouse that I've sort of fallen into, video games are more likely to tear me up vocally, because I'll be a soldier or a monster or a demon or some poor schmuck that's dying, 18 ways from Sunday. Not that anime can't tear you up. I mean, Fairy Tale, the Fighting Festival arc as Loxus, sort of destroyed me for a couple days after.
Do you put more action in the butt?
Yes. See? When you have these directing notes out of context, they suddenly turn scandalous. You got to give the butt a little more action. The word butt, not the butt.
But yeah, definitely, for those who can't make the panel, I know we want to try to keep that on the DL, but for the most part, yeah. Could you pitch your panel real quick to us, real quick?
Well, it already happened, so...
For the next time.
I usually just talk about the writing and the directing and the script adapting, and I take questions, and I sort of just free-range riff on things, talk about the butt. If you'd been there, you'd know what that meant. If you weren't, so you're scandalized right now. And yeah, fun time is had by all. Sometimes I'll take a prop and fan myself because it's a muggy room. That was the case this year. Sometimes I'll have a fun hat or a microphone or a bottle of water. So really, it's every time is different.
Right.
No two panels are alike.
It's a new experience every time. Right. Within like the anime spectrum, do you have a particular genre or type of character you like to play more than others?
A lot of times it seems like I'm playing the villain or like the character-y type, which is fun. I mean, villains are fun because they're the ones pushing the story forward by their actions, and zany characters, doing accents, doing little monsters. I'm usually not the hero, and that's okay, because the hero is usually not the most exciting person in the world, just by definition, because they have to be the one that everyone can relate to, so they can't be too specific. Sometimes, not all the time. That's not true in every
Tales
case.
of Zillia was an interesting one in that aspect.
Zillia. I'm Zhao in Zillia.
Yep.
I'm so awesome and manly, I have 2 beards.
Yep.
Like most people just have a beard right here. He had like a beard here and another whole beard over here. He might slowly be going through mitosis. Like if you wait long enough, there might just be like a whole second Zhao that suddenly cleaves off of the first one. But that's probably DLC, so you don't get that in the base game experience. No, you gotta pay for that. Dress him up like Idol Masters and have him just divide into 2.
When I first started playing that game and I ran into Zhao, I was just like, ooh.
There's a lot of testosterone in him for a Tales game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's a mountain man.
Yeah.
Big. He's got a hammer.
That first boss battle. Yeah. Alrighty. So let's jump back all around. Recently, did you play a role that was extraordinarily challenging? Anything that kind of stood above the rest in just terms of difficulty? Not necessarily liking it or not liking it, just the range that was required to play.
No, I pretty much knocked them all out of the park. I think 2 that stick out in my brain. One, because there was just so much expectation lead up to actually doing it, is Frankie in One Piece.
Oh, yeah.
That was, we did Unlimited Adventure like 6-7 years ago, it feels like. It's a long time. And then waiting until relatively recently to get in and actually do Frankie for the show. So that was just I think the challenge was not psyching myself out, after all of that waiting and expectation. And then the other one would be Garrosh Hellscream from World of Warcraft, who I love as a character, but that voice just destroys him. But it's okay because he's so much fun. If he weren't so much fun, it would be a drag. But since he is so much fun, it is just par for the course. You know what I mean? It's just the price of admission, as it were. But I tell you, after an afternoon of doing that voice, that's it for the day. It's time to drink tea and not talk.
Is tea your secret recovery juice?
I've got like Chinese cough syrup. There's tea. I've got like little throat drops from Switzerland. The whole sort of international pharmaceutical.
The Hitalia recovery kit.
Basically, yes. I take the countries and I ingest them. It's like Attack on Titan.
Oh yeah.
But with a voice actor being like, "Oh, you could help my throat," and more clothes.
You need to be all the Titans.
All the Titans.
Almost all the Titans.
I want to be the one with the really cute eyes. I want to be Moe-Eye Titan.
Kawaii Titan was amazing. I felt so bad when they had to kill him.
I'd like to be Kawaii Titan or Grateful Dead Titan.
Yeah.
He looks so happy and serene. It's like, oh man, Crosby, Stills, and Nash is in town. They're here to eat the children, as they so often are.
Oh yes. Ooh, that's a good show. As your panel, and I'm not going to try to dig too deep in this.
Yeah.
You mentioned Saints Row, and I know in the previous Saints Row the Third you had a voice. Did you do any voice work in the fourth?
For the fourth, I didn't. For the fourth, I was just co-directing
Okay.
the VO.
Gotcha. How were did you guys do like the karaoke scenes together and stuff? And
Oh yeah, the stuff with the opposites attract, and
yeah,
I think the Biz Marquee stuff was already in the can when I came into the process, but the opposites attract definitely. So
I absolutely I laugh when you get in the cars and stuff and they start singing together.
My job is very interesting, and I know that on an intellectual level, but sometimes I forget it on a visceral level until you're sitting there watching Nolan North singing Paula Abdul.
Yeah.
And then you're like, my life is weird in a good way. I get paid for this. Okay, good times.
Yeah, and I know your character you rather enjoyed playing. He was kind of like a little naked and flew around in the sky.
Yes, the character creation, and it's been a whole thing for me. The first game, I made this really fat dude with like a trucker mustache, because I was a really fat dude with a trucker mustache, so it seemed appropriate. And he doesn't talk at all. And the second game he talks, so I gave him like the sassy black chick voice, because you've just come out of a coma, you've hit your head, you've come out of a coma. It seemed like the way to go. And then in the third one, that voice wasn't available, so I switched him over to the Slavic woman, still keeping him in that, not even male. And this time I made him the French woman, so he's just slowly going around the world, never quite coming back into his right mind, and flying around naked.
Yeah.
Like you do. In Saints Row.
You gotta get the streaking achievements. Good stuff. Let's dig her deeper. Have you put in any time? I know you voiced. You did a voice in SAO. You did voices for Frankie in One Piece. You did Lucian for Riot Games.
Yes.
Kog'Maw. And it's just kind of a broad spectrum, but does Riot Games frequently, they're like, Patrick, we need some deaf voices recorded?
I mean, not any more so than they do with everybody else. I don't have like the Riot phone at home. I'm like, it's ringing. They're calling on the direct line. But I have been like that. I mean, anytime there's a franchise or a game where I get to go in for more than one character, it's all gravy. I mean, getting cast in anything even once is awesome and gravy, but especially when they think you can change your voice up enough to be useful to them multiple times, that's awesome. I'm down with that. So I've been very lucky. I mean, it helps when Kog'Maw's all like, blah! I mean, that doesn't really sound like anybody else.
Yeah.
They're not going to be like, I'm hearing too much Kog'Maw in your Lucian. It's not, no, if that ever happens, I'm doing it wrong.
They're like, it's like, here's a mic and a handle of vodka, that's the bathroom. We're going to...
By the end of that Kog'Maw session, it was only 45 minutes, by the end of it, I was like, hold up. Okay. I mean, you can only make those sounds for so long before your body's like, it's barf time, okay. Here we go.
Time to unleash.
Yeah. Like, no body. We're pretending. Body doesn't understand. Body just wants to barf.
Yeah. We're going to talk about the feels a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Wolf Children. The feels.
The feels. Oh, that movie. And all the feels. And if you think that movie has the feels, and it does, imagine having to watch it in like 5 to 10 second chunks. Just looping it over and over again. That's some feels.
Oh, man.
That's some Kleenex right there. Like, yeah, I was adapting the script and just crying. Adapting a line and then crying. And then I'd get to be like, that'll fit the mouth flap. But I'm going to write an alt for that line. Just in case they want to take it in a different direction. So, there was much crying. Yes. But it's also weird when you do stuff like that because you're also under a tight deadline. So, you want to do the lines justice and you want to give alt lines and you're feeling all these feelings. But then in the back of your mind, you're also like, there's no time. It's a very odd process. And then you get to the end of it and you like sleep for 3 days. Because you haven't for like the last 3.
You just get that Nespresso.
No, it's actually getting tougher to do the older I get. But if I'm working on a script and it's coming to me and I want to stay up all night, I do. And then the next day I'm like, I have made a horrible, horrible mistake. Why have I done this to myself again? But, if it's coming to you, you don't want to stop and put it down. You're like, I'm just going to ride this roller coaster. Yeah.
Yeah, in the moment.
And then you start to see the sun through the blinds. And you're like, oh, no.
Oh, no.
I've got a session today. That was a bad idea. I've done that a couple times.
Yep. Ooh. Yeah, we know about that. Oh, let's see here. All right. Well, do you have any other future works that you're in the works? Anything you can talk about?
That's always the kicker.
There is always a kicker.
I know they just announced the cast for Bin Bagami Ga, Good Luck Girl. I play Bobby. Bobby says horrible things. He says horrible things. He is not respectful towards women. I can't wait to hear how that turned out.
Finished product.
Exactly.
Could you, if you wanted to find Patrick Seitz on Blu-ray or DVD right now, what would you recommend?
I'm on Blu-ray and DVD? Like just me playing my acoustic set. No, I don't know, man. It depends on what people are liking genre-wise. Maybe go pick up Sengoku Basara. It's not recent, but it kicks ass. Or maybe go out and buy some One Piece. Although
Tsunami is now delivering.
That is true.
We're gonna catch up on that.
Finally. Oh yes. Maybe go grab some Sword Art Online. That's au courant. Yeah.
Sword Art is great. Aniplex has decided to release it in such a way that the fans are not so happy about. The $200 6 episodes at a time model.
Yeah. That's rough.
Yeah.
I mean, this has always been an expensive hobby, but that's rough.
There's expensive, and then there's drug problem expensive. Yeah.
I don't have a copy yet, guys. Don't rob me. They jump me for my sword art.
We just carrying away scrolls of swords. They jump me for swords.
The interview was a sham.
I'm sorry.
They just wanted my animu. Oh, God.
You're taking it from me. Why did they have to put it there?
Take that cat too. Give me that.
No! He's mine.
Cry for me.
Happy's all I got left. You're my only friend in the world. Happy don't care.
Heavy.
Did you visit any sweet Denver hotspots while you were in town?
I was mostly out of my head with the altitude. Like not ill, just like
Kind of, zoned out, kind of.
just a little tired. I mean, I kept up with the water. I drank my due share of the water, but I just tried to conserve my energy. I was sick like all last week, so.
Oh, you had the plague.
I did have the plague. I thought last thing I should do is go to Denver and
Spread it.
immediately fall over dead. So I've been playing it a little conservatively this time around, just so that I live. It's worked out so far. Knock on wood, Sunday afternoon. I'm feeling good.
Woo! This is running longer than expected because we're gonna have another person in here too. Sue, favorite TV shows or anything right now? What's on the hot list or the Netflix list?
What's in your instant queue?
Oh, jeez. I did just watch. I just watched Sherlock while I was sick. I finally got around to that. Watched first season of Battlestar Galactica. Wasn't really feeling it. That's something people kept telling me, you gotta watch it. So I'm like, fine, I'll watch it. I'm sick. It's all I can do. There were some interesting ideas in that, but I felt like they sort of dithered around. Like, if Cylons are going to be organic, then someone needs to bring up the whole idea of how are they robots? How are they different than us? Why aren't they viable as life forms? There were some philosophical questions that never came up in the show. And I realized they were holding it up as like an allegory of 9/11 and, people were sort of shooting first and asking questions later. But as the show went on and they kept not addressing these questions and not exploring, what the Cylons were all about with, we're hiding among you, but we're blowing you up, but we're hiding among you, but we're blowing you up. What do we want to do? We want to, make babies. And So I got a season in. I was like, no.
Not feeling it.
No. And I would watch more Swamp People if they put more on Netflix. I love watching these dudes that are like 120 pounds soaking wet, physically pulling an alligator out of a swamp so that some other dude can shoot the like quarter-sized spot on its skull that a bullet will actually penetrate, and that's their job. Makes me not want to complain about, bad traffic on the freeway. I'm like, I had a horrible day with the traffic. They're like, we pulled alligators out of swamps. Damn near got my hand chopped off. So, keeps it in the proper perspective for me.
If you were to write a biography or have somebody write an autobiography for you, what would it be titled?
Sights Unseen.
Sights Unseen?
Yeah. And then I wouldn't be on the cover at all.
Not like, sombrero.
I mean, maybe if I had the sombrero down to where you couldn't see me, angled down
Spanish
steeply enough.
interpretation on like cassette and DVD.
I suppose that would work. Maybe I could have like a reversible cover, make it like an anime disc. Here's the artwork that people really wanted. It's on the backside.
What's your feelings on that? That's always been a funny topic.
I think it's cool they have it. I mean,
the double option is nice.
The more people are getting for the money, the better. If they feel strongly about the art and the artwork they want on the other side, they can flip it. Good times.
Have you ever checked out like Spice and Wolf? That was like the biggest thing with the flipping covers.
I have not seen Spice and Wolf yet. My media backlog in general is pretty hefty. My anime backlog in particular is deep.
It's a trend among people in the industry.
I like watching it.
When you can.
Yeah, just sometimes after working all day, I'm like, I need to see something live action in English. So.
What was your blockbuster? Did you like Pacific Rim?
I did. I've seen it like 4 or 5 times. I have to make up for all the people that saw Grown Ups 2 that weekend, so.
Yeah, stick it to the man. Stick it to Grown Ups 2. This is a good bad.
I forget that I'm not like everyone else until I see that like everyone went to go see that instead of Pacific Rim. Because in my little like nerd bubble, everyone's like, Pacific Rim, oh my god, happy Pacific Rim. But then the rest of the world was like, that Adam Sandler, he's such a scamp. So, we are of two minds.
What about the that Wolverine movie?
It was better than the previous Wolverine movie. I still had issues with it, but it was definitely better than the previous one. They figured out a way to have him be a violent character, which he is, which they never quite got the hang of in the previous one. Although I was afraid from watching the trailers it was going to turn to Superman 2. That whole I'm strong as everyone and I don't want to be strong anymore. And then, you lose your powers, and the first bar fight you get into, you get totally beat up. So, I mean, I understand immortality would suck, yes, blah, blah. But if you're awesome and kick-ass and you don't age, work it.
Use it.
Yeah, own that.
Yep.
So, that's just me.
Yep. Well, I guess we'll end with NDK thanks you. We love you. We want to see you again.
Indeed.
And, yeah.
I like being here.
I got a question.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could say this or not. Do you voice Jubei in the upcoming Blaze Blue?
No.
You do Ragna again though, right?
Yeah.
Does he say anything new? Or is it just Infernal Divider all day, every day? Say Infernal Divider while getting hit.
I mean, there's every time they do a new Blaze Blue, there's always more story stuff. So, I say new words, I promise.
Okay.
Or I say the old words in a different order.
When you say the old words while on fire in the booth.
New things are said. No, it's new words come out of my mouth.
Okay. Most excellent. We need to get you into a pachinko machine too. Like the Patrick Seitz pachinko machine.
I would say such horrible things.
That would be impressive.
Because it's all with balls. I'd be like, come! Play with my balls! It'd be horrible. They wouldn't put that machine anywhere.
Opening ceremonies is beckoning.
Is it that time?
It is that time. Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah.
The cat.
Just trying to wave. You don't wave too good, Happy.